The Retron SQ. Where do we start with this thing? It has so much promise, and at least out of the gate, it left a little bit to be desired. At least that's what we found during our initial unboxing and review. Hey everybody, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions. Now if this is your first time to the channel, just want to take a second and say thank you for stopping by and checking out. Make sure you check out some of the other videos that we have here on the channel, including our full-blown review of the Retron SQ. Now this is designed to play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and for a lot of people, most importantly, Game Boy Advanced games on your flat panel modern TV via an HDMI cable. Now out of the box, Hyperkin lists this as a beta feature, and at least in our initial test results, I don't know that I could even classify it as that. But over the course of the past few days, I have been contacted by a number of people in the community that have shared some exciting information with me on how basically this will now play Game Boy Advance games pretty much no problem. Now, it does require you to go through and install their day one patch, and it does require you to have some sort of a USB keyboard. This is just a $10 Walmart special, so there's nothing special about this keyboard here, but I will tell you, I have everything set here with the day one patch and with the new firmware. Well, not just the new firmware, but being able to access tools inside of the new firmware, and this looks terrific. Like, this is really, really good. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through how to go ahead and apply that day one patch. Now the steps are different than in the previous tutorial that I showed you how to do this. That was basically showing you, hey, Hyperkin is working on this. This is now they're finalized. This is how you update your system. So we're going to walk you through all of those steps and what you need to do and what you need to access and how you access it on the Retron SQ to get it to run Game Boy Advance games pretty much as it should have right out of the box. Let's go hit the computer. All right, so where we are going to start is by going here to hyperkin.com/RetronSQ. This is the start and the end of everything that we need to download is going to be on this page. And basically where this fix comes from is the fact that Hyperkin has listed out their open source resources for the Retron SQ. And if we scroll down here, let me go down a little bit further, a little bit higher, is the fact that someone very smart realized, hey, this is running a version of RetroArch. And as such, we should be able to access the RetroArch menu and everything. And that's what we're going to show you how to do here in this video. It's kind of interesting the fact that this is running a version of RetroArch because RetroArch generally does not have problems running GBA games. So it's interesting that basically the code was not optimized, essentially, and that's what we're going to fix here. A little bit further down the page, resources. This is the stock Retron SQ firmware. Don't download that. What you want is the firmware update SD image version 1.1, the day 0 patch. We're going to click to download that. Now I have a file folder on my desktop here called Retron SQ firmware that once it is done downloading, we're just going to do a drag and drop. The other thing that we need to download is this USB image tool. And this is what makes a huge difference versus the original tutorial that I showed everybody with the first update to the firmware that Hyperkin provided to me. So with this, I can now rewrite my existing SD cards. I don't need a separate card like I did with that. I've actually already downloaded it right here and unzipped it right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Retron SQ firmware folder I have here. This is the original firmware that Hyperkin had sent me back in the early part of March to try out after our review went live. We're going to right click and go to Extract All, and we are going to browse and navigate back to our Retron SQ firmware folder, select folder, extract. And there you can see, just to keep things different, they do have a slightly different file name. This is 221.03.04 RK3128-BRK01 SD card, 128 megabits. They are the exact same file size, so 131.072 kilobytes for both of them, but they are different dates, and I can see the date modified right there. So I'm going to close that window down, And now we're going to go into this USB image tool and back to the website. Now the issue with what I had shown you originally in our last update video was I could not rewrite to the SD card, at least the stock one. This now will allow us to do just that. So what I need to do, and we'll go back here, I've already, with the Retron SQ turned off, removed my SD card, micro SD card from the Retron SQ, already done that. I have my micro SD card in an SD card adapter. Now I will go to USB image tool and make sure the micro SD is selected in device mode. There we go. So click on that. Name, SD card, number 3, gives me some unique identifiers and everything. Move that over the side. Click Restore, and now we navigate back to that folder where we were at, that Retron SQ folder, and this is the firmware we just downloaded. So we're going to click on that, click Open. Do I want to restore image, so on and so forth? It's basically giving me one last chance to opt out of this because it will wipe everything on this card. So do not use another card that you use for anything else when doing this. I'm going to click Yes, and at this point it is going to restore the image. It buzzes along here pretty quickly, and then once that is done, we can go ahead, safely eject it from our computer, and then go ahead and put it into our Retron SQ. And this is something I'm showing you in real time, so you kind of have an expectation as far as what to expect with the right time, and there it is. So now that this is done, we can go ahead, eject the card from our computer, and reinstall it back into the Retron SQ. So a few exciting things here. First and foremost, if you noticed, the aspect ratio has been fixed. That's exciting. I have the controller plugged in. I have my keyboard plugged in. I'm using a USB hub basically for this. Now if I go down here and I hit the F1 key, check that out, and I can actually manipulate things with the keyboard, or with the controller itself. I need to go down here to Options. I'm going to hit the Enter key. And down here, you want to know what the whole issue with the GBA is? This line right here, frame skip. Take this down to 0. From here, at frame skip, once it's at 0, I can hit F1 on the keyboard again. We're going to go ahead, single player, Super Mario Bros. 3. I'm going to set the keyboard down. This looks terrific. I will say that right now. Now, got to remember, use B and A, not Y. So let's see Mario running. Hey, that looks normal. I have to admit, before I recorded this, I actually played this a little bit just to make sure, hey, does this work? I cannot believe how much better that one little change to the code makes this system work. It is a night and day difference. But there you can see Mario running and jumping, and I'm playing terribly right now, but you can see you're not getting the blurriness, the skip frames like what we did out of the box. It's such a simple fix that I don't know that if Hyperkin never looked into that, if they never thought of it, I don't know what the reasoning behind it is, but this looks like, oh, absolutely wonderful, except for the fact that I died. So let's try to do one completely clean run through. I died on level 1-1 on Mario 3. God, I suck. Now, one thing I will tell you is I have had mixed results with it retaining that frame skip down to 0 from 4 out of the box. There have been times when I have relatively quickly changed games, and it keeps the record of what it should be at 0. I've had other times where it doesn't, like there, you can look at Mario's tail, how it's flipping or kind of going through its motions there like normal, and that is something that with the original firmware and that original frame skip setting, we would not have had. Again, look at the tail. That's exactly what it should be doing. It's a wonderful thing. And for those, oh, that was stupid of me, wondering how I am doing that, it's basically the X button is a turbo for A. He's gone turbo. perfect. I mean, that's exactly how this system should have been out of the box, and this is wonderful. This is absolutely terrific. So we're going to level 2 again real quick before we switch to another game. This is such a great version of this game too. I mean, it's based obviously on the Super Mario All-Stars palettes and everything. Come on, you. All right, we got through that. Down the tube we go. Again, that's pretty much flawless. A little bit of blurriness, but you know what? I don't know that that's any different than what I would see on my GameCube with my Game Boy player. I mean, that is, this is terrific. I will say lag-wise and whatnot, no real noticeable lag, no real noticeable latency issues. This is, I've said it a few times now, but this is wonderful. I always forget which one the star is in. There it is. Now, in Super Mario 3, one thing that some people may not be aware of, if you hit a power block on the left-hand side, it'll come out the right side of the block, and on the right side of the block, it'll come out the left side. So that's really, really good. Let's move over to a Star Wars game. So here we have Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. We're going to do the same thing, F1. Go down here, go to Options. And here, frame skip, as you can see, it did reset back to 4. Hit F1 again, English. I do apologize too, got a little warm in here. I've got my fan going, so if you hear a little bit of background noise, it is because I don't want to have more glare shimmering off of this than already is. So we'll press start, single player. So it looks like we are starting with Anakin. This, again, it looks great. Now, with an action platformer, obviously you would have, look at the way that he ran there. That was spot on, that was perfect. Oh, I didn't even realize that the backgrounds were destructible in this too. I mean, I am digging this now. I mean, this is exactly what I wanted this system to be out of the box. The color palette looks good, the sound is great, and seeing the fact that it is RetroArch, I'm not surprised at that. Now, if there is one game I would think that would definitely kind of push a system to its limits as far as speed and whatnot, it would have to be our friend the Blue Blur Sonic the Hedgehog. And there happened to be a Sonic the Hedgehog game on the Game Boy Advance. So, okay, I bought this a while ago. I've never, this looks great. I need to play this more. See, and that's exactly what something like this should do. It should leave you wanting to play more of a system, of a library. And, oh, I am really happy with this right now. Now, the one thing, like I said, I would love to see Hyperkin come through and make it so that you don't need to reset that frame skip each and every time. But yeah, let's move on to Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog on a Nintendo system, I know when it happened, I'm like, what is going on here? Let us go down again through the quick menu. Options. Frame skip is 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Can I? Nope, the number keypad does not do anything. Neither of them do, so good to know on that. So we will zip out of that. Now, the Game Boy Advance port of this was okay, not great. It wasn't the most authentic in terms of some of the audio, but it still played pretty decently. Now, hats off to the folks at Hyperkin for fixing the aspect ratio too. I mean, that is a good thing. I'm glad that they did go ahead and get taken care of here. One of the things to kind of keep an eye on, especially in Sonic, is like shimmering on the background. I know that has been an issue in some ports of Sonic, and just how things, oh crap, I should not have jumped there. You know, if there's any blurriness and whatnot as Sonic runs through. Did feel a little bit of lag or slowdown there, but I think that was more the game doing that than the system. There it was again. I mean, overall, I think the performance, especially on Sonic, has been really quite good. The backgrounds look sharp, but then again, this is running RetroArch, which has been around for quite some time, and you know, it's RetroArch itself as a standalone program has not had an issue running GBA games. So I am not surprised, and we're going to get to the bonus stage here too. I am not surprised that this is now running properly on RetroArch. Now, because this was scaled for the GBA screen, if you notice, it was cropped and you were zoomed in more on Sonic than in like the Genesis version of the game. This music is also not even close to as good as the music in the Genesis version. Come on, you. Oh! That wasn't bad. Not at all. We are going to finish up our test here with our good friend Denki Kang and Denki Kang Country. Now, if I can give you one piece of advice if you are doing this, don't hit the escape key on the keyboard. It causes some weird stuff to happen. To exit out of this menu here, just hit the F1 key again. So go to Options, Frame Skip, go to 0, F1. I mean, this again, also looking terrific. Going through, I mean, this looks great, it sounds great. I mean, this, again, it's one of those things of, this is how it should have been out of the box. Now, I understand that Hyperkin was going a different sort of route with the Retron SQ, kind of like what they did with the Retron 77. Find the exit. I'm just floored that the community was able to come together as quickly as it did to fix this. Also interesting too that it's something that Hyperkin needed to have fixed by the community versus having it fixed out of the gate. Especially if they were running RetroArch to begin with. You know, it's one of those things that I'm not a programmer, so I don't know that I would have caught it, but I'm glad that someone somewhere did. Yeah, I mean, this is perfect, exactly what I would have expected out of the box. I'm not feeling any lag, any latency, any delay, or anything like that. I mean, even things like you're seeing here with the rain coming down now, too. I mean, that's something that I don't know. Yes, got it. I don't know that the stock firmware would have been able to properly handle. So let me ask this of the audience watching right now, and I do appreciate, everyone watching along as I die. If you happen to see our original video to what we're showing you here, what do you think? Is this enough of an improvement for you to say, yeah, I'd go ahead and I would take a chance on the Retron SQ? Because quite honestly, if this would have been what shipped, minus the fact that you have to do the F1 to go ahead and actually enable this. If it shipped with firmware that worked like this out of the box, would you have been satisfied? I would have been. I honestly think this is, I was over too far. I miscounted the trees. This is what I wanted the system to be out of the box. I mean, make no bones about it. This is exactly what I was looking for out of the box. And I'm glad that from a hardware standpoint, you know, it proves that the hardware was never the issue. I know we have one commenter who has been dumping on this since day one. And through my talking about the Retron SQ, I have never wanted to dump on it. I didn't think it was a bad piece of hardware. I didn't think it was a bad piece of tech. I didn't think it was a bad concept. I don't think the execution was quite what it could have been. And I think, quite honestly, I think they felt some pressure, perhaps from Analog, and perhaps from other companies as well, to try to get this out to market sooner than later. The fact that the community was able to come up with a relatively simple fix in less than 2 weeks after the product shipped, I think tells a lot of what the potential for the system really is. Again, I don't know about programming. I don't know about Linux and all that. I can apply this stuff, but I don't know, how to go ahead and disseminate the code in Linux. But saying that, I don't think that this is a bad product. I don't think it was ready, and I think now if they can flash the firmware to a point where that frame skip is set to 0 by default, and or we can have the option to have a combination button press on the controller to be able to activate, yes, okay, that is the right one. Took me long enough to get there, right? To get to a button press to accomplish what I have here with using the keyboard, I think that is going to be the key to make this, oh, I slid too far down, to make this as user-friendly and consumer-friendly as possible. And I think in the end of the day, this just needs to work for the end user. I mean, getting through stuff like this, jumping over the bees, making sure I'm not getting hit, although I took a hit right there. What's down here? Oh, we have something there. Hello. It's been too long since I played this. Oh, this one. So where is the balloon? I think it's in that one. Yes, I was right. This is something that I think now at this point, consumers should consider this, definitely. And I've said this a couple times now, and I'm kind of babbling here, but just call me Brooke. I think, as I died, I think if this is how it would have shipped, even with the F1 key as the beta, if that was what the beta was, okay, fine. They need to go ahead and make this something that it's a, LR, start select gets you into that menu, and you can go ahead and navigate through that. It's time for final thoughts. It works. There you have it. This is how this actually should have shipped out of the box. Great job to the community. Thank you to everyone who went to work trying to figure this out. I will admit, I figured out nothing here. I am not the one that figured out this technique. I had other people that shared the information with me and wanted me to share it with each and all of you. And as such, I will actually be sharing this, before you see this video, with the folks at Hyperkin as well. This is something, quite honestly, that if they can bake into the firmware itself, wonderful out of the gate. Also, if there was just some kind of a button press that would duplicate the F1 key on a keyboard, like if you pressed, LR, up, start at the same time, it would accomplish that same thing. If we could get something like that, Hakchi had that sort of functionality built into it. Again, thank you to everybody that made me aware of this and the fact that this is what we are looking for. So as you can see here, this is the correct aspect ratio. Now we have a playable frame rate and everything. Good job, everybody involved with this. Kudos to you. And this is something, this has been shipping less than 2 weeks at the time of this video. I am really excited now to see what the future of the Retron SQ has in it. And it's one of those things I completely anticipated, just seeing what the community did with the Retron 77. Terrific job, everybody involved with this. Now, if you do have any other comments or questions, as always, feel free to leave them down below in the comments section. You can also go ahead and email me at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. Send me a message on Twitter at rocksolidstudios. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/rocksolidproductions and on Instagram at instagram.com/rocksolidproductionsgk. And finally, we're also on Rumble on screen right now, rumble.com/rocksolidproductions, one of our newest platforms that we have recently joined up. We're almost to 100 followers over there, so head on over to Rumble and follow me too if you are interested in checking out what we have going on there too. Now, if you are looking to pick one of these up, I will have a link down below in a pinned comment where you can actually go ahead and order one through our Amazon affiliate link. You may also want to check out CastlemaniaGames.com. I'm not sure if Ryan has got these listed on the site yet, but if and when he does, the great thing is when you purchase one, you earn what's called Castle Cash. It's his rewards program where the more you spend, the more you earn towards future purchases. And the great thing, Castle Cash, it is just like cash. So if you have $10 in Castle Cash, you've got $10 to spend at the castle. You can also use promo code ROCKSOLID10 to save 10% off of most items on the website. And if you are looking for additional videos, tutorials, tips and tricks, and how-tos, those are coming up for you right now. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to support the future of Rock Solid Productions, you can do so by visiting our Patreon page at patreon.com/rocksolid. For as little as $1 a month, $12 a year, you'll get early access to all of our video content, exclusive content, and a whole lot more. You can also become a channel member here on YouTube for as little as $1.99 a month, and with that, you get a badge next to your name when you comment or post on the channel, and you are acknowledged whether you are a channel member or a Patreon supporter at the end of each and every one of our videos. You can also support the channel by visiting our Teespring store on screen now, where we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, masks, cell phone cases, and much more. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.